Hi, this is Bruce of Blue Sky Video Productions, and today we have an excellent coach. These days, with the economy the way it is and business the way it is, I think you need a coach more than anything. And they give you that 30,000 foot outlook, just so you can see the forest for the trees. So let's get into the show. So, hi, Phil. Good to have
Hey,
you.
Bruce. Thank you, buddy. Good to be here. I appreciate the invite.
So we got a really active community already. Eric Eric Burns is first, and two favorite dudes. Thank you. And Michelle is second, and Coach Phil is nothing short of spectacular.
Wow.
I agree. So are you, man. And Randy is Angel. So those are quick comments. Thank you very much for tuning in. And a lot of times, as the introduction kind of said, a lot of people need coaching these days, and more than ever, really, because when the economy hit a brick wall there, a lot of people were like, what do I do now? And they didn't have a way to fall back onto a tried and true plan. They just try to do what they've always been doing. So your perspective.
Yeah, need is probably true. What I find, though, is that there's a lot of apathy around coaching. And what reminds me of that is whether it's in today's economy challenges or if it's in the past. A buddy of mine owns a sporting goods store here, and he hired a coach, and it wasn't me, but we're still friends. It's okay. And what he found was that by having a coach, before he hired the coach, he thought, I've been running my business for 30 years. We've had the ups and downs. We've grown. We've ridden the valleys, climbed the mountains, and had success. Family's healthy. Business is great. And then we hired a coach because his daughter was going to take over the business. And he didn't know what he didn't know about coaching. He thought, wow, I thought I had it all figured out. Who would have thought that after 30 years of running a business, there was something I didn't know about the business? And as a result of working with a coach, he was able to help transition the business to his daughter. And the things that they learned that they didn't know were simply amazing were his words. So there is a huge need, but apathy is one of the biggest things because of a lot of people have a business because they're not really good employees. They like to take charge and make things happen. And why do I need an outsider to help me? That's a broad stroke general statement. That's not true for everybody, but that is one of the things we in the business coaching space come across until we can identify an opportunity where they could see some value and some gains in having an opportunity to work with a coach. There's 4 key areas that coaches generally work with, business coaches, that is. That's a pillar of time, team, money, and then an exit strategy. So nobody wakes up in the middle of the night going, oh my gosh, I need to do something with making more money, or hiring a coach to make me more money. They don't think about hiring a coach. What they do think about is making more money, paying payroll, the challenges with the team. They wake up doing that. And who do they get to talk to? And a coach can help them through all that stuff.
Yeah, because the concept of the show today is finding that hidden money within your business. And so you're doing something. My uncle ran this ad agency, and for years, Wrigley, the gum company, used to sell these little knickknacks, and give away the gum. And it took somebody from the outside to come in and say, people are buying those knickknacks to get the gum. Why not just sell the gum? And that changed their entire business structure. And then from there, he got them to go do advertising in the newspaper, something that they never thought about. And not only in the newspaper, but advertising in the comics section where the kids always watch or read the comics. Mm-hmm. And the kids eat the bubble gum or chew the bubble gum. And so again, it takes someone from the outside to kind of say, you're doing good, but you have hidden money and hidden ideas that aren't being developed.
What's that quote about the forest? You can't see the trees because of the forest?
Yeah, you're so close to the trees that you can't see the forest. I mean,
Yeah.
you see a tree, you see a tree, you see a tree, and tree. Okay, there's a bunch of trees, but you step back 30,000 feet in that overview. It's like, oh look, it's a forest.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of blind spots that we all have, whether you're a business owner or not. One of my mentors calls them scotomas, which is a Greek word for blind spots. And having the opportunity to work with a coach can help you see through the things that are, you smash your forehead. It's a blinding flash of the obvious. It was always there until you, like a kaleidoscope. If you turn a kaleidoscope, it'll change what you see. That's really what coaching can help you do, is subtle, small, incremental changes on a consistent basis can have a huge impact, which is kind of what we're going to be talking about today. The hidden potential within your business is based on that premise. The small incremental improvements on a consistent basis will have a dramatic impact in a wide variety of your business.
So let's get into that a little bit. Let's say I'm a business, I'm running pretty smoothly. Sales are down this year. How do I make more money?
Yeah,
I know that's an overall general question, and it's a one-to-one business, but in general, how would you say a business can make more money doing what they're doing, or not doing what they're doing, or doing something extra?
It's not one size fits all, Bruce. Depending on the dynamics of the business, the different things that they could be missing out on are different from business to business. I've had clients where an inventory management system was their goose that laid the golden eggs. I've had others that didn't understand how to write a marketing message properly, so that they were always competing on price. One of the things that we help all of our clients do is come up with a market dominating position. And one way I start that conversation out is, if I'm in a networking environment, live or virtual, it works in both platforms. People would say, Phil, what are you doing? I say, well, that's a great question. I'm in the business of helping business owners and entrepreneurs stop the insanity of being one of those. And if they go, what do you mean? Then I'll say, well, are you a small business owner? And they'll go, well, yes or no. And if they are, then I'll carry on and say, well, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. You've done your marketing, you've got a prospect, you've asked a bunch of great questions to uncover what they're about. What are the things that they're challenged with? What is it they'd like to do with the business to move it forward? Ideally, where would they like the business to be? And then they have a solution for the prospect. They make a great presentation to the prospect, and they've got all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and think they've ready to ask for the order. And when they ask for the order, the prospective client says, "Can I get it for 30% off?" And when I bring that to the surface with the people I talk to, I go, "Does that ever happen to you?" And they go, "Oh my gosh, it happens all the time, way too often." And I says, "Well, that's because that's crazy, isn't it?" And they go, "Yeah, absolutely is crazy." Well, that's the insanity that I help people like you stop having to deal with. I help you get the passion back in your heart, the bounce back in your step, and the vision that you had that maybe has disappeared. Get that back in true, where you can see it easily, and make the money that you deserve to make. Serve the people that you want to serve. Work less in your business and have a lot more fun. If that's something you're interested in, then we can have a conversation and go further. And so when I've had those conversations and I've helped people identify those sorts of things for themselves in their own business, they're stop competing on price and stop being like everybody else. There's only one Bruce, and you have a market dominating position. There's only one Coach Phil. There's something different about me compared to any other coach. So we need to talk about the value proposition, the market dominating position that we have, and go from there.
Yeah, I think the saying goes is be yourself. Everybody else is taken.
That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely. So again,
absolutely.
the same thing as doing these live streams is we're creating a dominance in our area, because none of my competition is doing live streams. And so when people start typing in or looking for someone to help them do a live stream, the influencer in the neighborhood, in the area, is our company. Although with it's all virtual, we've expanded our base, but again, it's not serving everybody, because you've heard the same thing when you market. It's like who's your audience? Like, everybody's my audience,
Right.
and it's focus that really pays off. Because again, if you've got a message, you mentioned the person who kind of lost it on the marketing message, is you've got to target that message. And you've got to really target that message down to pretty much one person. And if you reach that one person, then you can reach that same person across all your demographic. So again, I like Simon Sinek's version of start with why.
Yeah.
So as far as a business goes, how do you talk to them about discovering their why?
It comes into being like a detective, asking them questions, right? So we can understand what are their core values, what makes them tick, what makes their heart sing, what kind of people do they like hanging out with, why do they like hanging out with those people, and because they hang with that group of people, what is it that group of people brings to them that satisfies their drive to provide a service to them. Those are the kind of things. Going after your why really is an important thing. Simon Sinek is a modern day version of something that's really, really old, out of a book called Think and Grow Rich. One of the critical principles for the laws of success is what's your major definite purpose, or your why. So one of the things we do is, if people don't know what their major definite purpose is or their why, we get them to understand that their major definite purpose is to work on finding out what their major definite purpose is. Because until we find the why, or our major reason, definite purpose that we want to do, then we're just being a wandering generality and not a meaningful specific. And as soon as you nail it down to why you do what you do, like in Sinek's YouTube video where he talks about the Apple airplane and that sort of thing. When you compare Apple, the company, to the PC world was selling bits, bytes, and RAM, and Apple was selling the experience. So it's critical in your marketing and in your conversations with people to know why you do what you do, because that's what people buy. They don't necessarily buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. And that's where the enthusiasm and passion comes from. And if you know why you do what you do, guess what? When there's a resistance to an idea, then you'll push through it. It won't matter. One of my mentors taught me something about needing to know what it is you want and why you want it, and then stifle the how. And so I thought, well, if this stuff really worked for him, I'm going to try it in my business. So in the early 90s, I was at a place in my life, because of the decisions I made, that I was broke, in debt, no place to live, and no job. What would you do? Bruce, what would you do if you were in that situation?
I would reach out to my contacts looking for assistance, finding help, maybe through a business coach, although through a family or through a network.
So would you go after a job, or would you start a business?
Most people would probably start with looking for a job because they have no capital to start a business.
Yes. So I didn't do that. I started a business, and I didn't have typical capital. I had the why capital, because I was sick and tired of working for corporate America, covering your ass mindset. So I started a business, and that led me to where I am today. So if you know what you want and why you want it, and stifle how, you can make more stuff happen than any other way. Does it mean everything you go after happens and you can make it happen? Absolutely not. But more things will come to you that way. And one of the things, because I had no capital, and I was running a live networking group, and I ran it for 5 years, and that was my marketing strategy, just like the virtual world is today. It was to have the preeminent position, serve people. Matter of fact, the tagline back then was networking for fun and profit. And through that, I learned how to dance, the house I'm living in, the computers I'm on, the things I know, the business I have. All came out of that. I'm in the business coaching space, in the training space, and facilitation space. I help businesses with sales, marketing, leadership, and those sort of things. But I also have another company that's nothing to do with coaching, all about oil and gas exploration. We have a particular tool called Path Tracker, which is a survey calculation tool that helps those guys and gals out in the field do their job, drilling holes in the earth so they can get petroleum-based products out. Good or bad, that's one of the products I have. Big deal. Why is that relevant today? Well, it's relevant today because if you know what you want and why you want it, things will happen. So I started my business. My only marketing strategy was knocking on doors and doing networking and inviting people to this networking group to make it a place where people could connect, solve problems together for each other. And as a result of that, as Steve Jobs says, you can't connect the dots moving forward, but you certainly can going backwards. So if I go backwards to when I started that in the 90s, what ended up happening for me was I ended up getting computers with no money on a couple occasions because I chose that was what I wanted to do. No budget, no finance, because I didn't have typical capital, but I had a creative capital. And if you have the creative capital can provide you with the impetus to get other things, get people support, find JV partners. All of those things are really important to getting to where you want. Now, I said stifle the how. How is a big part of the puzzle. However, if we look at how too early, too soon, we'll stifle our dream. So I challenge people to go after what they really, really, really want, and they'll find a way to make it happen. Yeah, they'll have some failures along the way. But if you take the 4 letters of fail, and turn it into an acronym, it's really first attempt in learning. You don't know what you don't know until you start going. And when you run into an obstacle, you can fix it. And another thing the same mentor taught me was anything that comes across as an obstacle, treat it like an obstacle illusion, because it's only up here where the problem is. Everything we want, everything we see in our physical world that was man-made came first from a thought. So stop thinking the things that cause the illusion that's an obstacle. Look at it as an opportunity. What is it I don't know? What do I need to know? Who do I need to get to know to make my dream and my passion come to fruition? How can I serve the people I want to serve? That's my rant on what, why, and stifle the how. And yeah, fail. First
so
attempt.
Actually, I think I missed the I. So it's first attempt.
In learning.
I, what's the I?
First attempt in
learning?
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is to, in order to get to the next level, you need what's on the next level.
Well, so, if you know what the why and your purpose is, right, you're going to push through things. Like you've seen ducks, I'm sure, not the flying ducks, but the ducks that are in the pond, and they're swimming around, and you see the trail of them because they've created a wake, and they look like they're just gliding on the water. But if you were to go underneath with a camera, their feet are going, they're going like crazy. But on the surface, they're like cool, calm, and collected. That's what we need to be when we're running our lives. Yeah, we've got all this chaos and stuff going on that we're going through, but we don't need to share all of that stuff. That's if you think of the iceberg, the identity iceberg, on top of the surface, what people see, and then below that's all the things that we're dealing with have come through all of that stuff. It's like a friend of mine when I was selling houses way back when. He lost his lumberyard and he came to our province to sell houses. And everybody said how lucky he was because he was doing so well. But when you get to know him and know his backstory, how he had to argue with the bank, they were going to repossess some of his property, they were going to overtake his lumberyard, they were going to do all this stuff. He survived that. And now he's a retired happy farmer in southern Saskatchewan, which is in province east of me. But on the surface, all you see is how lucky he is or was. Well, when you get to know what he's all about, he wasn't all that lucky. He had the fortitude and the tenacity to persevere, and that's what he did.
Yep. So Eric's mentioning effort plus opportunity equals results.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's almost like luck and opportunity equals success.
Well, there is no luck.
Yep. Well, being prepared for the luck. When the luck occurs, then you're prepared for it.
Oh, I suppose if you win a lottery and get the numbers right, that's pretty lucky. But outside of
winning the lottery, a lot of people who win lotteries do actually end up losing money and are more in debt than before they won the lottery.
That's a whole different session for another conversation.
Yep. For
your show.
So Michelle and Geese.
Geese.
So let's talk about some of the how, because sometimes you know your why, you know your what, and how do you get started? What's the first step? As in talking with a coach, how do they find a coach? How do they find a coach who works well with them? Because every personality is different, so how do you know that?
And knowledge base is different too. So I think what you need to do is, if you're searching for a coach, is to identify what the problems and challenges that you're facing are, and go look for somebody who's had some success in that arena or has the resources to help you to do that. I can help you with the exit strategy, but it's not my forte. So what I do is actually refer to a group of other coaches that I'm affiliated with to help you with that process. Like, for example, selling a business is nothing like selling a house. You don't just put a sign up on it on the outside of the building and get the buildings or the business staged for sale. That doesn't work. Often, in many cases, if you do that, you'll reduce the value of the business. So you need a business broker. You need to talk to your attorney. You probably need a commercial realtor. You need a business coach to help you through the whole process. So there's like 4 or 5 people right there. And then depending if there's partners and everything else, there's a whole team. That's why I don't specialize in that. It's not my forte, but I do have, like I said, associates to do that. But where I get my passion is in the sales and marketing and in the mindset. So I actually do a live streaming sort of thing as well. And the 3 things that I talk about are those: sales, marketing, and mindset. And those all 3 of those are important. If you don't have the right mindset, it's going to be tough to go out and do the sales sort of thing. And if you don't understand the marketing side of it, how can you tell your story? If you don't tell your story well, how can you sell it? And if your mindset's wrong, then how can you persevere and move on? So that's my specialty, is working in that space, is helping people in that world. One of my favorite crazy experiences that I've had, with wonderful experience, is with a coach that I work with, and brilliant guy, an engineer in the manufacturing space and construction space. And he got stuck. You asked, what's the how? Well, you need to get out of your way and don't let the how get you stuck and think, well, I don't know how to do it, so I can't do it. So once we got him shifting from getting stuck in the how, I was at a conference in Cancun with a group of coaches, and I get a phone call. It's pouring rain in Cancun, just pouring. I went, umbrella couldn't even keep the water off us. Anyway, I get a Facebook message, I think it was, and it says, it's raining. And he says, yeah, it's raining here too. He's in Michigan, right? And he said, it's raining. And I said, yeah, it's raining here too. He said, no, opportunity. Just like you said, it's just pouring on me. I signed up 3 clients. So we went from a very low revenue, $500 a month, to $13,000 a month with a contingency. Based on the contingency and getting out of his own way and inventing the way to make it happen, he's a 6-figure, $300,000 coach this by the end of this year in the trajectory he's on. And with the upside contingency with his client, that he's helped them understand where they're not doing things and they were losing money, because he has the expertise. Now he's coaching them. He gets a share in everything that they do these days. So 300,000 is going to be a drop in the bucket, and they don't mind paying that to him because of the things they've helped them save and the opportunities he's helped them navigate to and through.
Yeah, because you mentioned earlier about inventory supply system, and that you went in and looked at see how they were spending money or wasting money with their inventory or
Yep.
their costs. And that's one way of building up your profits is by reducing your costs. It's not always increasing sales.
It's actually managing your resources and assets. So your people, your inventory, and things like your vendors, your credit cards, simple things like that can be a money saver right away. There's all sorts of things. So that all of those things are the underpinning to the top of our show, the title of your show, and that's finding $100,000 of the hidden potential within your business. And if I was doing that as an elevator spiel or an infomercial, I would, if I was talking to you, Bruce, and you asked me what I did, I said, well, I work with businesses like yours to help them find $100,000 of hidden potential in their business in 60 minutes or less without spending a cent on advertising or marketing. When would you like to do one? So at some point in time, that's going to be our call to action. And for the first 10 business owners that would like to go through that process, happy to do that. Normally charge about $1,000 to do that, $997. But in support of Bruce and his show and his audience, any business owners that would like to go through that process, happy to do that for the first 10. It may not happen this week. We need to schedule it because some things we need to do. and put it into your calendar. We'll walk you through something called the Profit Accelerator software. And in that tool there, we'll come up with a few ways to help you tap into your business and the potential that you're leaving on the table.
And so Michelle's commenting as a strong call to action. So the question is, how do we take advantage of that?
Yeah, it's really simple. I like simplicity. My email address is coachphil.ca. Let me see if I can do my best weatherman. No, I did it wrong. There we go. It's right up above my shoulder. Phil@coachphil.ca, and it's in the stream at the bottom. And in the subject line, just put capital PAS, capital P, capital A, capital S. And if that speaks to you and I see that in my inbox, then I will send you an email reply with a link to a calendar scheduler that I use, and we'll plug it in and make it happen sometime in September. And again, it's the first 10 that get to do this only.
Okay, so if you're catching us on the live, you've got an advantage. If you're catching us in the replay, there might be 1 or 2 spots left open.
Right.
So what kind of companies are you looking for? Because again, we mentioned about you don't serve everybody. So who is your ideal client?
You know what? I'm now I'm going to be a hypocrite here. And what I mean by that is I don't specialize with chiropractors. I don't specialize with contractors, but I do specialize in people who want to elevate their game, who are open-minded. They're okay with being uncomfortable, being comfortable being uncomfortable. That they use money, not people. If you use people and not money, I'm not interested in talking to anybody like that. If you're cynical, don't reach out to me. I can't work with that. Skeptical, absolutely. Just because we as a coach says it, don't believe it. Go out and try it. Prove it doesn't work to us, or maybe it does work. So it's more, to me, it's about the passion. Ideally, the ideal client would be somebody in 500,000 and up, probably to, well, I don't want to put a ceiling on it because we can work with anybody. But if they're 500,000 would be probably the smallest. Reason being is you need to have a couple of people to delegate or be willing to add bodies to the team, because as you're making the additional revenue, we want to help you work more on your business and less in it. And there's a great book out if you don't want to hire a coach but want to read an interesting book on the aspects of the entrepreneur, a book written by Michael Gerber called the E-Myth Revisited. Make sure you get the revisited version. And in there, he talks about the 3 I's of an entrepreneur. And it's one of the things that I do as well. We talk about the entrepreneur, the person who has the vision, the manager mindset, and they're always looking back at what do they need to take care of, the bank, the vendors, those sort of things. And then there's the eyes of the technician. That's the head down, butt up, and doing the work. So small businesses tend to have the entrepreneur spending more time in the managing side and maybe a little bit in the technician side. And they don't give themselves permission to slow down, to go fast. And what I mean by that is, I think it was Lincoln that said that I think it was he made the quote, if he had 7 or 8 hours to solve a problem or chop down a forest, he'd spend 6 to 7 hours sharpening his axe and then an hour doing the work. So essentially, when you're working with a business coach, that's what you end up doing. It allows you to take time out of the busyness, and I spell busyness BUSYNESS. So just running around and doing stuff and being active, a lot of people think that's, yeah, I'm having a great day. And some people might be. Many people, though, are just doing busyness. They're not being effective and efficient. So that's what a business coach can help them do. Slow down, sharpen the axe so you can chop down the trees with more ease and move your business exponentially. So those that take advantage of the PAS, just with a small incremental improvement of 10% using the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, you can increase your profits easily by 62% in a 12-month period. I know that's quite a claim, but you know what? I've seen it. It's happened. I mean, just go back to the person I mentioned before. A coach had well, if you look on my LinkedIn, if he wasn't an engineer, I would think, man, those numbers are wrong. But he's an engineer. He did the math and said, no, Phil, this is right. It's in excess of 7,500%. That's not 10x. That's like a lot more. Yeah. And can I share one other thing that I think?
A quick quote, comment from Mark. Real name is his book. So bring it. Thank you. And then cynicism closes all doors. So I guess the saying is what? If you think you can, or you think you can't, either way you're right.
Yeah, Henry Ford, right?
I think you said that. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of these quotes out there, and that was the other quote that a lot of people say is people, all things being equal, people do business with those they know, like, and trust.
Absolutely.
I just threw that in there just because we're quoting people.
Well, that's good, because one of the things that I got an opportunity to hang out with one of our audience members, and that's Michelle. And it was a couple of weeks ago, and we did something on rapport building. And you said, what are some of the hows? One of the hows is building that rapport and understanding of observable communication. So there's three things that we notice: the tone, the body language, and the words. And if you understand all three of those in a way, and maybe some of you have already heard about this, it's the DISC assessments. And if you understand the different styles of communication, the different behavior, and we want to build rapport quickly and sincerely, then that's a powerful way to do it. That's one of the starting points that I use with everybody I coach. And we look at it as know thyself. Because if you know that if yourself best, then you know how to interact and understand other people. I have a partner who's very task-oriented, very numbers, dot the I's, cross the T's person. And I have some of that, but I'm more people-centric. And we've been bashing our heads together. And even though I teach this, I found myself communicating to him predominantly in my style, which is people-oriented, an influencer, less detail-oriented. And he was asking me how all the time. And then once I realized that he wasn't getting what I was saying, because I was shooting over here and he's over there, once I realigned the way I was communicating to him, now we're moving forward together as a cohesive unit. And even though I knew this stuff in advance, I wasn't applying it to my best ability.
As a lot of times that people, I mean, I took the DISC assessments, and I'm a high D and a high C, which means the opposite. My weakest point is being an I, which is the influencer, the outgoing salesperson. So that's why I'm in marketing and less in sales. But if you know what your shortfalls are, you know how to get out of your comfort zone to explore that. Basically, with these live streams. Mostly an introvert, and I know a lot of people who are doing live streams who are introverts, and even actors who go on stage and are big actors are all introverts because they're more comfortable in their little zone. But if you can kind of create a personality, although still being authentic, that gets you out of your comfort zone and to take that extra step.
Yeah, it's the other thing though, if you want, in addition to that was a great bunch of nuggets, is understanding how to talk to other people. Many people have heard of the golden rule, and the golden rule basically is treat others the way you like to be treated. That's the golden rule. And if you got a sense of humor and you're high D, you might say, if somebody asks what the golden rule is, it's one with all the gold rules. That's the humorous side of that, but that's not the reality of behavior. On the in terms of communicating more effectively and building rapport quickly, you need to understand the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is what DISC helps you understand. And what the platinum rule is: do unto others in the way that they'd like to be done unto, so that they get what they're looking for, and they're being heard and they're being listened. The golden rule is nice generally, but if you really want to engage with people, we're at risk as high as 75% of the time of speaking to people in a way that disconnects with them. You do a great presentation, at the end of it, they don't go forward, and you go, I did all the things I should have done, except for talk to them in the fashion that they prefer to be talked in. And that's not just talking, that's in writing, it's in everything you do. If you're a detail-oriented person, analytical, you better make sure you've answered all of their questions and have the supporting documentation. If you're an I like me and you come on like my financial planner, for example, who is an analytical thinker, he would present me. Yeah, that's a great bookmark. He would present me with. So
that's what I is.
Yeah, he would present me with the possibilities of the investment, and he would give me a stack of papers and all sorts of stuff. And if he understood my style better, he would have said, you know what, it's this much amount, this much to invest. Here's the downside, and here's the upside. Do you want to go ahead? And when he started communicating to me that way, I was able to make my decisions about my investments much quicker. I could go on for a whole show about that, but I won't.
We can probably do another show about just assessments and personalities, and working with personalities and kind of creating personalities that adapts to another personality. So we've got a few more comments. Mark's been very active in the chat. Right point, real, raw, resilient equals authenticity. What's that one saying? If you can't be authentic, then fake it. Although you really shouldn't. So, or fake it till you make it is also a bad quote, because once you make it, are you a fake?
Yeah.
And that was a comment from a guy who I follow, who actually was on a show a few weeks ago, Scott McCain. And then actually, you're working with a group of people through Focal Point, and we actually had a guest a few weeks ago who started off as a Focal Point coach, and then has since moved on to his own brand. That was Key Jackson. I understand. I think you've met him or virtually met him in the past. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I don't know him well, but I did meet him for a few minutes at one conference. Yeah.
Platinum rules. Thanks again. And Coach Phil's awesome. He exactly how to communicate with someone else is amazing. Because a lot of time is people don't know how to communicate with another person. They don't know what shoes they're in. They don't know their circumstances. And their point of view is basically, here's my product. You should use this product and buy it. And they don't really understand the sales point of it. Because you're not only a business coach, you're also a sales coach.
Yeah, but one of the things that kills businesses is not having a sales process. So not being able to teach people how to sell is you're shooting yourself in the foot as a business coach. So one of the areas I specialize in, there's 3 areas, like I was mentioning before, of my live streams that I do. There's 3 topics I want to focus on, and that's sales, marketing, and mindset. All 3 of those, if you could have a triplicate of dovetail work together, they're all intertwined. They're like pieces to a puzzle. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to go out and sell. If you're not going to go out and sell, you're not going to have any business. And if you don't have any business, then you're not serving anybody. So it's like a triad. They're like a stool, and you need all 3 legs to make it happen. Mindset, sales, and marketing. Marketing tells the story. Sales gets the transactions completed, and mindset just manages the whole thing. The before, the during, and the after in a mindset. And if you can increase your efficacy, which is one of the things I specialize in, mindset is to help you get more shit done, as they say. We help you increase your causative power so that you can live the life that you thought you'd like to live.
Speaking of Jeffrey Gitomer and get stuff done, he's got a show called Sell or Die that he works with his wife with. So basically the concept there is either sell or your business goes out, because if you don't have that income coming in, there's nothing to fuel the future growth.
That's right. Yeah, and you can't do all the things you want to do in society, right? And the athletes going to coaching, all sorts of golfers have, they have swing coaches, putting coaches, driving coaches, personal trainer coaches, they have mindset coaches. That's just one golfer. And all of them have a coach, or 2 or 3 or 5. If you go and search it, I forget his first name. It was one of the CEOs of a little company called Google. He has a short little video where he talks about the advantages of having a coach. He had a coach when he was a CEO, and as a result of that was able to help Google grow to the heights it went to when he was there. I mean, it's got bigger since then. Coaching, having a coach doubles your productivity and your effectiveness and halves the time of getting it done.
Because you've got someone else who's already done it. Because people learn from their mistakes, but if you can avoid those mistakes from someone else who's already gone through those, it's better to learn from other people's mistakes. Well,
and it's not always mistakes, Bruce. One of my other clients, a lovely lady who was in a relationship, tended to find people that would abuse her emotionally and mentally. And I was referred to her, or she was referred to me, and she told me what her big, hairy, audacious goal was. And inside I went, oh, that's a big one. How are we going to do that? Then I thought, wait a minute, it's not my job to figure out how. It's my job to help them get to where it is they want to get to. So what she wanted to do, living in Canada, we have winter. We have this white stuff that falls. And she wanted to raise her family, run her accounting practice in a tropical place half of the year. So she wanted to go to Mexico and work out of Cancun. And within 8 months, I helped her help herself find a way to make that happen. She still today lives in Cancun, raising her family, running her accounting practice, living the life she wants. Half the time in Cancun, half the time in Canada, where I live, in Alberta. And as a result of that, that goes back to what makes my heart sing. What's my why? Is to help people, entrepreneurs, to reach or exceed their personal and business goals faster than they would have ever imagined. And we did it in 8 months, and she's still there and prospering. Prospering defined by her prosper. And matter of fact, one of the things she's a cancer survivor as well. So we leveraged that stuff that she already knew how to do to beat the crap like cancer out of herself. And she's a wonderful lady. Matter of fact, I'm funny I bring her up. Maybe because I'm having a recap meeting with her tomorrow, just to catch up and see what she's up to. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with her for about a 30-minute Zoom call. It's going to be beautiful. That's why I do what I do.
So great. And so comment from Mark, love the stuff, behavioral styles, and I'm guessing he runs salesconcepts.com. So if you're looking for sales help, here's another access. And I believe that Mark also does a live stream. And that's something that we're getting into too. We were actually starting to produce this Go Live in 5-day challenge, which we're launching in October. And they're going to help me with that as well. And I think we're helping you with another program because you got noticed while you're doing your lives that you were asked to speak at a conference. So doing live streaming is another way of generating income, looking outside the box, hidden potentials for your business.
Yeah, so with the start of the COVID, when it changed everything for everybody, how we do business, I thought, oh my gosh, one of the things I like to do is get out and meet people. How am I going to do that if I'm not supposed to go out and meet people? There's nobody going out to meet anyway because we've all been told to lock it down. So I leveraged, I know what I wanted and why I wanted. How the hell am I going to do that? And I went virtual. I went to all sorts of things looking for online networking communities. And that's how I met you and the other people in the Megamind group, and also the emerging sales winners. And as a result of doing these live streams that I've been doing, I think I've done one. By the time December arrives, I will have had 5 that I know of completed. Live streams like this. I'm actually doing a session with a group of coaches that I hang out with to talk to them about my journey on going virtual, using and leveraging virtual platforms, StreamYard, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm using all of those things. I have a client that I'm trying to earn the right to do more sales training for them. I got a congratulatory message from the president of that company via LinkedIn for my 12-year anniversary with this company. So people are watching. So be careful what you're doing out there. Show up in your best light.
Yep. Well, I think we've run over our 30-minute segment. And thanks to everybody for hanging out, and thanks for those who are watching still. Thank you. And we do have an offer. Again, we're talking about your program. And can you go a little bit more detail what the program entails?
Yeah, so with the PAS assessment, it's a profit accelerator software tool that I have access to. And what we'll end up doing is investing 60 minutes with you to tap into your business and identify hidden potential that you may or may not have thought about, and how to look at it from a different way. And as a result of that, when we're done, a couple of days later, I'll shoot you the report that comes out of this process, and you'll be able to find at least $100,000 of potential, at least 6 figures of potential in your business that you can implement and make happen and help you to live your dreams. So if that speaks to you, the thing to do is in the subject line, in my email, Phil@CoachPhil, put PAS, and I will respond with the steps on how to make that happen.
Great. And for other information, they just follow you on Coach Phil CA, which is your website, and you are Coach Phil 1 on Twitter. Or you can just Google Phil Gilkes. That's
I know it's a tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a soft G. It's not like in Back to the Future where they call it a gigabyte a gigabyte.
That's right.
So great. Thank you much for having. It was great having you here. And let's see. Last comments here are training is necessary, a necessity. Military, musicians, athletes, speakers all trained. Actually, definitely. And excellent job. Thank you for the compliment. And again, if you've seen this, you want to share this out, whatever platform you're on, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And again, if you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And we're more than halfway there. So great.
Brilliant. Thanks, Bruce. So, appreciate it.
Do you have a YouTube channel as well? I believe you do.
I do, yes. Just Phil Gilkes, I believe.
Are you still launching it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
every day except for today, for the last 4 weeks, I do a short live stream on sales, marketing, and/or mindset, or a combination of all three. And then on every Friday, so that happens at 9 a.m. Mountain Time for about 10 or 15 minutes, just a little nugget to give you some information, support you as best I can. And on Friday, I have a international buddy of mine, and we talk about a bunch of different things. So this Friday, we're going to be doing something on selling. He's going to talk about spin selling, and I'm going to talk about an upside down triangle, and to help you understand where you are in the sales process in relationship to your prospects and clients.
Great. We have one last comment from Barry. Thanks for helping. Barry, I believe, is another Canadian citizen, with a fellow Canadian citizen.
He is. He's in the province next to me called British Columbia, BC.
And then again, not to belabor the point, but you do work with both international audiences, U.S. as well as Canada. And so how is your Hungarian?
Not so good. It has to be in English.
Okay.
Even my Spanish isn't very good. I have a little bit of French, but very little. And most of my content is in English. So, but I do have clients. I have had clients throughout the U.S., Canada, and a few tropical places like Cancun and the Cayman Islands.
Excellent. So thank you. So what I'm going to do is kick you off for a second here and point over this way. So I'm going to put a link to Phil's YouTube channel here, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel here. And there'll be another link back there for another YouTube video that may interest you. So thank you again for joining us, and have a great week.